Have you ever had a moment when you just watched something that just made you go, wow? That was exactly my reaction when I saw Brendan Kavanagh's piano playing live stream at a public piano near St. Pancras. Now, it's not because of his piano playing primarily, although that is awesome, but it's because of the implications for free speech that single event had in the entirety of the world. So the piano began playing right here, and essentially Dr. K was just casually bringing out awesome tunes right here. Somebody even took over and started playing the piano all together, and all was well until at the 9th minute. So the Chinese people essentially came over and started telling Dr. K that he couldn't film them, and it later escalated so much to the point that eventually the police got involved, and eventually there was a whole drama that ended up in a whole discussion, a police officer being taken to task. She's been skewered over and over again on different YouTube channels. Now, there's been a couple of updates on this case so far, all of which have been interesting. There were people literally complaining on YouTube to have the video taken down. Dr. K even released copyright, so technically anyone out there can just go right ahead and cite the video, download it, and make use of it in different ways, and so on and so forth. And you know, it even got to the point whereby people started identifying the different people in the video and started saying that there's legit some Chinese spying that's going on right here. I have no idea about that right there, but I just thought it would be interesting to think about free speech and consent and a whole lot of other things that just came up along the way. But honestly, most of my thoughts are not even about the law or about the legal intricacies about Chinese personality rights or essentially the UK right to film without being disturbed or any of that stuff right there. My main contention is really just the whole unnecessariness of this entire situation if people would just behave properly. Let me explain. So, when the Chinese people came over and asked Dr. K to stop filming, there was a whole discussion right there that I think could have very much gone a lot better. I think that if the Chinese people had just said, hey, we have our own interests, we would really appreciate it if you would just go right ahead and stop filming right there, because that would really, really inconvenience us. I'm so sorry. We're so sorry for this. I know it's a very important live stream for you. I think that things would have gone a lot better. It would have been very much better than just trying to misrepresent this whole situation right here to the point of even bringing in image rights and a whole bunch of other things. But the real kicker was really when Dr. K reached his hand out to touch the flag.
Chinese flag.
And then that one guy just started shouting,
"Why you're touching her? Stop touching her!"
It was a very obvious attempt to try to implicate Dr. K in a crime that he wasn't even guilty of. Like, anyone, even a 5-year-old, could tell from the video and the live stream that Dr. K was not trying to touch that woman. He was literally just having a conversation. The Chinese man basically, and yes, I am a Chinese man as well, by the way, started screaming left, right, front, and center to try to get the crowd on his side and against Dr. K. That is tremendously scummish behavior. That's horrible. The fact that you would try to do that suggests that you're trying to damage the reputation of a person and you're trying to put the mob on your side rather than actually trying to negotiate things in a good way. There was one charitable way of interpreting what they were doing right there, and that was that they didn't want to be called Japanese when they were holding Chinese flags right there. And yes, they could have definitely just walked away, but of course, knowing their interest and knowing the way that human decency works, I think that they could have definitely just phrased the request in a way that was not scummish. I genuinely believe, I do not know if this is true, that if they had literally just asked nicely, then this whole situation would not happen. They would not have had to make 8 different privacy complaints, go on a gigantic, literal freaking social media campaign in order to take this down, and so on and so forth. Guys, I know that the law exists for a reason and that people can really behave in horrible ways, but let me just remind you all that the law is a last resort. it's not the first thing that you come out and start throwing against people. You only resort to the law when it is a legit desperate thing, when essentially the squabble has come to a boiling point and you literally cannot deal with things anymore. And you have to start playing with all these legal niceties. I want to believe, I don't know about you out there, that a vast majority of situations like this can actually be resolved just by being nice or not raising the issue. I think that anybody with half a brain can see from this whole situation that all these people who didn't want to be noticed or thought to themselves that, hey, they should remain anonymous, have received way more exposure than they ever would, have become the subject of a literal social media campaign, and will have their faces remembered for the rest of their lives. Yeah, so much for trying to preserve your image, right? Now that this has become a free speech issue, like, people will download the video over and over again, they will make TikToks of it, and people like me will cite it when they talk about things of this nature. I'm not going to judge the Chinese people or their situation. I have no idea about their situation, nor do I actually care. I know some people might end up saying that, oh, hey, you know what, you should have Chinese solidarity and you should care about the Chinese people or whatever have you right there. But honestly, like, this is not really a Chinese or non-Chinese issue. This is like a behavioral issue. Not saying that Dr. K was behaving in a totally perfect way either, by the way. But yeah, I just want to say my piece. Like, if only you guys were nice, this whole problem could have just not happened. And I would hope that that will be true for the vast majority of social situations in our world as well. That was my piece, signing off.